Alright guys, so here's the gear video on how to attach stuff to your bikes. Um, the two bikes I have both have racks on them, and so I use a more traditional kind of touring setup with pannier bags. The pannier bags refer to these bags that hang on the rack in the back. And if you're like a serious tourer and you need more capacity, you can also get racks that attach to your front fork, and you can hang smaller bags off the front. But that's kind of the traditional like road touring setup for a bike. I just packed everything, and it looks like I'm going to be able to fit everything I need into one of my Ortlieb bags. And so I may try to go with just one instead of two, just to save the weight on the second bag. But the way they attach is they hang off the rack. There's two kind of attachment hooks that attach to your rack, and then down below it'll have some other method of attachment on the other side that will keep it from bouncing out from the bike, and that provides a pretty secure attachment. These bags themselves are roll top closure bags, and so they're kind of got like a dry bag setup. They have like a waterproof fabric that's like a shiny plastic covered rubber, and they roll shut, and then you clip them on the sides there. So that makes them pretty waterproof. If you don't have waterproof bags like these other commuter bags that I have that I'm gonna put on the other bike for Tom, what you'll want to do is to put your sleeping bag into a garbage bag and then put it into the stuff sack. And that way, if you get like a really heavy rain that kind of soaks the bag, the sleeping bag will stay dry. That's kind of like the standard cheap way to do a waterproof bag for a backpacking setup. So that's how you do it with the rack. If you need more space for a rack, the nice thing that you can do with the top of the rack is you can put some of your bulkier items, like your insulation layer or your rain jacket or your sleeping bag. You can put them in a stuff sack, and then you can strap the stuff sack with some kind of compression straps to the top of your rack, and that's an easy way to kind of add capacity. Or if you were touring, people would put like their tents or things like that on the back there. But that's my setup. I've also got a kind of bag up front, which is a little like easy open kind of day space to keep stuff in. I've got the two water bottle holders, and like Nick, I'll bring another like water sack of some sort that lets me carry an extra amount of water for what I need. You can see the kind of tires that I'm using these are 700 by 40 width tires. They're not super wide. I actually thought they would be wider, but they're still kind of oriented towards the road with a little bit of extra width on there. I've got flat bars on this bike, but flat bars or drop bars would work fine. We've got the lights attached to the front with the flasher mode for visibility if the weather's bad. In the daytime, that helps out a bit. And then a kind of light in the back as well. And so I do recommend if you can source one of those. I should have a couple of extras I have a couple of extra sets, but they don't have the flash ability, but they would be good for at night. They kind of stay on constantly. So anyways, that's what you can do with a rack on the back of it. And if you have a rack and you need extra bags, I may be able to lend out one of these bags. It looks like I'm going to try to make it with just one bag. We'll see if I want to bring the camera equipment or if I want to save weight. But let me know if you have a rack but you don't have a bag or something like that. Maybe we can work something out. Other technical details. I think that's probably it. Let me know what kinds of questions you have. I think for emergency gear, you want to have your rain jacket and clothing, and then you want to have a tube, at least one tube on your bike to be able to change your own tube. I'll have a bike pump. I know Nick has a bike pump, and probably some other people will come with a bike pump. So if you don't have like a bike pump already or that kind of like tire changing gear, then don't worry about it. We should have enough to kind of share and go around with it. And I'm gonna bring a kind of small toolkit with some other stuff that we can do in case people have mechanical troubles. What I'd like to do is on Tuesday, when everyone arrives, to spend an hour or two in the afternoon getting people sorted on their bikes, on their rental bikes, making, adjusting the fit for everybody, making sure everything's working mechanically, and making sure stuff fits in their packing and everything. So I figured we could do that for an hour or two and get the gear sorted on Tuesday afternoon before we start on Wednesday. Oh, one other thing that's kind of important when using these pannier type bags is the main fit issue that you'll run into is your heel will strike the bag as you're pedaling. So you have to sort of try to hang them as far back on the rack as you can. And then you want to load it up and you want to go for a ride and make sure that you have enough distance between where your heel is on the pedal and the back of your bike. And usually it's pretty close, and sometimes you can get some heel strike. And in that case, that's a pretty big issue. It makes it pretty difficult to ride. And so you have to figure out some way to kind of get your bag scoot further back on the bike there. So that's kind of the main issue if you're using panniers to check for fit that way. Okay, let me know if you guys have any more questions.